You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers, about hikers, for everybody.
This is the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where we hang out and talk about everything from hammocks and hammock camping to the group hangs from around the country.
Hey, all y'all hammock enthusiasts and chill seekers. Welcome to the Hammock Hangers Podcast, the coziest spot on the pod waves. We are your go-to source for all things hammock related, from laid-back tales to tips and tricks on finding that perfect hang. So, grab yourself a drink, kick back into your favorite hammock, and let's swing into some awesome discussions. This is where relaxation meets conversation, and it's going to be one comfy ride. So, let's get into it. All right, everybody. Well, we have some of our favorite people in the whole wide world with us here, and it's not Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. Also, Paul is with us as well. We have our friends Cal and Kristen from YOBO Gear back on with us. How y'all doing, Cal and Kristen?
Oh, hi guys.
Hi guys, we're doing great. How about y'all?
Not bad, other than having to put up with AJ. Working third shift, don't get much sleep, and then I wake up to this. Yay.
You're welcome.
You got your husky morning voice going, though.
That's my podcast voice.
That's your podcast
voice.
Too.
Welcome, everybody.
Oh, keep going.
So, for those of you that may be living under a tent and not familiar with the wonderful gear that YOBO Gear produces, Cal and Kristen are the owners, operators, and magical magicians at YOBO Gear, and they put together some wicked sweet, amazing stands. Right now on the market, they have their Freedom stand, their Cricket stand, and their Hive stand, which just launched almost a year ago today on Kickstarter, and let's just say there were a slew of those at HangCon this year and a few other hangs that I went to throughout the year. So I guess we can finally say you've got a decent product.
Thank you. It's an honor to wander around and see all the stands up.
Yeah, it was almost like an impromptu YOBO gathering at HangCon, especially Sunday night when we were expecting rain on Monday. We're like, we're not going to pack up wet stuff. So we had a bunch of just YOBO stands under the pavilion. And it was just a sea of poles and just wonderfulness. But we wanted to have them on because just like last year, they are in the midst of launching another Kickstarter here in the very, very near future on their new Cricket. Or their new hammock stand. I love spreading rumors. I'm just going to throw random things out.
see what sticks.
See what sticks. No, they have their new, almost like a line of stands called the Turtle Bug. So we definitely want to talk with them about their Hive campaign, as well as talk about what's new on the horizon with the Turtle Bug stand. So let's get into talking about. So, for those of you also new to the podcast, we have interviewed Cal and Kristen before. They are really good friends of ours. I encourage you to go back and check out some of those episodes that we've had them on. We had you guys on a couple times, and so we're not going through like introducing because we know you, and hopefully we won't repeat some content. But I really want to get into talking about the Hive first, and just the process of that Kickstarter campaign. Would you guys talk about just what was the process, and was it a good experience or was it a bad experience? Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, I love to. And that actually will be really informative for people thinking about jumping on the Turtlebug campaign too. So I would say the Hive started with Cal just listening to a bunch of feedback.
Yeah. And what I found is a lot of people don't like to be scattered through the forest. And there was a lot of conflicting feedback as well. It's like, oh, people that hammock camp or introverts, and when it's time to go to bed, they just want to go to bed. But introverts have their person, regardless. So they if they don't want to hang around in large groups, they still definitely have one person that they want to hang around with. And so that's what made me follow through on that. I'm making the Hive.
The idea of a 2-person stand.
Yeah, the idea of a 2-person stand.
And then it just happened that it also solved some other problems that people were bringing to us, saying, I want to be able to hold my bridge hammock, or I'm only comfortable in a 12-foot hammock. So,
I want more room. So now it's like a palace.
Yeah, people are calling it their apartment or their living room. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It does provide an immense area for you to go camping and just spend, and even with the tarp, you feel like you have a lot of room in it. For example, even though there are plenty of tree options at HangCon, I slept in my Hive the entire weekend, and I had my hot tent just set up
cool.
right on the Hive, and I had plenty of room under it. It was great that, again, I can set up really anywhere I want. It was going to rain on Monday, which it luckily didn't end up doing. And I just literally just picked up my room and just dropped it off, and I was good to go. Didn't have to pack up everything, just literally just move the entire structure right under. We were ready to roll.
And that's the cool part, is like, so now you know that because you own the Hive and it is now officially on the market. But that's our challenge as business owners, is us kind of knowing and having a vision for it and knowing everything it can do. So we have to explain that to the public before the thing even exists in reality. And we have to also get them on board with paying for it before it exists in reality. And that's where Kickstarter comes in, which is, it's been a great platform for us because, we're a small business. We don't have the working capital to just throw tons of money at inventory before we have the customers. So Kickstarter is a cool way for us to not only get funding for the project, but also make it more personal for our customers and bring them along with, you can probably tell that it's a bit of an emotional roller coaster bringing a product to market. And the Kickstarter backers were all just so wonderful and patient and incredible and supportive. I mean, I think one of the best examples I have of that is I had submitted the Hive to Kickstarter because you have to get approved. Your project has to get approved. And I didn't really think there'd be any problems. We were following all the Kickstarter rules and everything. And it came back that Kickstarter had rejected us, our initial entry. And we were just so upset. Kickstarter couldn't tell the difference between the Cricut stand and our Hive stand. And they thought we were trying to market a product that already existed, which wasn't what we were doing. So they denied it. And I brought that to the YOBO neighborhood, our private Facebook group. And the response from them, like, I was having a horrible day, and that group just showed up with so much love and compassion and support, and you got this, and encouraging comments and humor. And it made our day, lifted us up and made us feel like we were going to have support no matter what. We were going to bring this thing to market. And Kickstarter did, we kind of had to explain and appeal and explain to Kickstarter why it wasn't the Cricut stand. And they did accept our second entry. But the way the neighborhood just kind of wrapped their arms around us and showed up for us, even in the very early stages before it had even launched. And that continued throughout the entirety of the campaign, and then the entirety of the whole production process right up to delivery. And we are still getting pictures of people's setups and positive comments and 5-star reviews. So it's just a really cool thing for us, as stressful as it is. It also brings us together as a community, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we got an amazing community. I don't know that too many other genres have this many great people in it. That's
Absolutely. We talk about that every single day. Just gratitude for the YOBO community. And that doesn't mean people that have necessarily purchased a YOBO stand. That just means this whole hammock camping community that has welcomed us with open arms and, love us and support us, whether they own our products or not.
Now, was the Hive your second Kickstarter? Did you do a Kickstarter for the Cricket?
No, we didn't. I did a Kickstarter, for my very first stand back in 2015.
That was pre-Kristen days.
Yeah, that was pre-Kristen days.
I was just finding it interesting that Kickstarter did enough of the research to kind of say, oh, well, your stand looks exactly the same as another stand that you had not even put on the platform.
Yeah, I think they clicked on our website or something. And, they have that similar shape with the peak and everything.
Yeah.
So an untrained eye may not be able to tell the difference. But we set them straight.
So the description of the two wasn't enough for them. One person, two person.
I imagined in my head it was just some guy at the end of his workday and he was really tired and wanted to go home, and he just glanced through it and said, no, I can't approve this.
He was a ground dweller.
Maybe.
But so you didn't have any issues with approval with the turtle bug?
Nope. That got accepted within 3 days.
Good deal.
Cool. Yeah,
that one went right through.
This one did seem like it went a little quicker, because I remember all those issues that y'all had with the Hive and everything.
Well, and with the Hive, that was my first Kickstarter, so I was learning the whole process. And marketing a Kickstarter is a massive undertaking, and so we're trying to be strategic about when we release things. And as you guys know, before you launch a Kickstarter, you don't have all the information about the product.
Right.
In fact, you may not have all the information about the product until it shows up on your doorstep, which is why the Kickstarter backers get such a great deal and discount.
Gotcha.
Actually, I'd be curious to hear what you guys thought about that. Like AJ going through the whole Hive Kickstarter. Was it stressful to you when you knew there was going to be a delay, or when you didn't know exactly what the final pack weight was going to be? I think it'd be informative to tell people your perspective as a backer.
I mean, for me, I think this has been like the third or fourth Kickstarter that I've kind of supported. I think for me also, like knowing you guys and, seeing you guys in the community and things like that, that was probably a bigger factor for me, because I was like, yeah, like crap happens. Like it's not, things that are always going to be out of your control as far as like shipping and your manufacturers and, logistics and all of that. That's in a perfect world, all of those have to come together literally like a well-oiled machine to you hitting that date. And if either one thing comes off, it kind of skews everything, and that's going to happen. I think there's people have to realize with any Kickstarter that when you get in those dates that the backers are agreeing to, those are not hard etched in stone dates, because stuff happens.
Sure.
And so for me, like it wasn't necessarily a worry, because I never felt like, oh well, they're just like some new Kickstarter people. They're just trying to take our money.
Right.
And I'd already seen the product, or at least an early prototype. And so I knew that this idea had come to fruition. Like I knew that the design was there. It was just a matter of getting the parts together. And I think you guys did probably the best of any other Kickstarter that I've been a part of keeping backers in the loop. And your information that you were sending out in updates and emails wasn't just your, oh, well, we had a snag, so we have to cut our delivery dates back by 2 months or 2 weeks. Like you were very intentional in saying, this is what we are facing. much more than any other Kickstarter that I've been a part of.
Yeah.
Normally you would get, oh, well, we've hit a snag. Oh, well, we've hit some complications with this. You were very intentional. We've had, this come up. This is when we're anticipating on getting our shipment. You had plenty of information. And I think that also, even if I hadn't personally known you guys, that would have been the details and the fact that you were so open and so detailed and not trying to like, oh, well, something happened. But you told us this exactly is what happened.
Right.
And also, I know, so everything didn't go super smooth with the Hive launch, but it also actually didn't shoot too far off from when you were telling people things were coming along.
Yeah, I think in the grand scheme, the average Kickstarter can be delayed like 6 months to a year.
And I have had some of those that I've been a part of that it didn't get fulfilled until I think one that I got on, it was like 18 months.
It took me 2 years to get a spoon.
You're not bitter about that at all still.
Right. And I mean, like what AJ was saying, and I mean, granted that was, when COVID first started too, but like what AJ was saying a minute ago, that company was not very informative either. It's like, oh, it's running late. I mean, that was it. And then, there was several people that try and, reach out to them and hear nothing back, and it got frustrating. And a lot of people, including myself, started thinking, well, okay, we just got screwed, basically. But, this, I know I didn't get in on the Hive Kickstarter. I'm still trying to talk my wife into, going camping with me and stuff like that. And as soon as I do, then I'm gonna get a Hive. But had I got in on that one, I know, I don't think I would have worried like I did with the other one. Mainly because one, I mean, yeah, I do know y'all, but I also know y'all's reputation, as a company. So that
and we take that really seriously. We know that even though technically with Kickstarter you don't have to deliver within a certain time, but we know that our reputation lies on that. And we've spent like 3 years building our reputation and our relationships with our customers, so we would not do anything to jeopardize that.
I mean, that's key, and I mean, just seeing on Facebook, like the YOBO neighborhood and stuff like that. Anytime I've ever seen anybody, ask a question or anything like that, I mean, you're one of the first ones to make sure that you respond to them. And I know I've seen several people where you actually call them up and everything else. And I mean, you help them out, and you don't.
Well, we hate rotten customer service. I mean, have you ever been on the phone with an airline or a website company or something? So we aim to provide the service and the products that we would like to work with.
Right. And I think that plays a big part in my opinion, of when people do, back y'all's Kickstarters and stuff like that. They have that trust with y'all.
Yeah.
They know that some things may not happen exactly like what y'all had planned, due to other circumstances out of y'all's control, but they know that they're going to get updated. And, I mean, we can see, tell, y'all's frustration too, when something don't go exactly, per plan, that, y'all legitimately get upset as well that you're not being able to fulfill exactly, the first date or whatever it may be because of, something happening. So.
Oh yeah. Imagine being on the receiving end of the phone call of Cal calling the manufacturers to tell them they need to step up their game because he's disappointing his customers and he refuses to do that. I never want to be on the other end of that phone call.
Well, and then the quality's got to be there, or I mean, because if you don't stay on top of that, a lot of them will like, oh, you need it fast. Well, we'll cut corners, and it's like, no, I need it done as good as you can do it,
Right.
and I need it done on time.
Right.
Yep.
Yes. The quality
So
still
he's-
has to be there, but you need to, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But that's good feedback for us, because sometimes when I'm sending all those updates, it's like, do people really want all this information? And I'm hearing that yes, they do.
Yes, definitely.
And as much as it sucks to say, oh, we're delayed, I'm sorry, and still no news, as much as it sucks to send those updates out, I just grit my teeth and do it, because I know people want to know.
I think
yeah.
also
They don't like being left in the dark. That's what
Right.
it is.
And I
Yeah.
think the constant information, the updates and things, it's almost like you're wanting to take your customers along with the ride with you, not just, oh, well, we're providing this and we're going to send you this product, and then that's where our relationship ends. Like
Right.
for a lot
Right.
of things, but like you're
Yeah.
bringing us along with the highs and lows of the entire process. And I think that's one of the really cool things just about Kickstarter in general, especially good ones. It kind of brings them along. So whether, I don't own stake in YOBO, but it's like, I feel like I am a part of this journey because I was a supporter of this product from the very beginning, before it hit market. There's
Mhm.
just something kind of about that. And it's comes double fold when if the product is good and a success, and you're like, oh yay, I was a part of that before it became cool. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have all of our Kickstarter backers to thank for the Hive, and we have all the people who bought Freedom stands and Cricket stands to thank for the Hive, and now the Turtle Bug, because they were early investors in our company,
Yeah,
basically,
right.
by buying product.
But like you say, for us, it's not transactional. I mean, like you said, they come along with us, they're in it with us, and then after they receive their product, I mean, it's like we're camping and having their experiences with them too. It's like, thanks to this product, I was able to do this, or I was able to do that, and that's what we really enjoy seeing.
Absolutely.
So Kickstarter isn't the only, I guess, crowdfunding source that you guys are a part of. You're also doing the Indiegogo as well. I know you did that with the Hive. Was that process any more stressful, less stressful, about the same? And are you going to go the Indiegogo route for the Turtle Bug as well?
We're still deciding on that for Turtlebug. What we did last year was we did the main launch on Kickstarter. So the Kickstarter, especially the early birds and, the super early birds, got the best price. And then when that 30-day campaign was over, we moved it over to what's called Indiegogo in demand. And you don't have to set a campaign time limit on that. So we just left it up there during the whole time the hives were in production for several months. And that gave people a place to go in case they missed the Kickstarter campaign. They didn't get quite the early bird discounts that Kickstarter had, but it was still a crowdfunding discount. We're still considering whether or not we want to do that, or if we just want to direct people right to our website. We'll let people know. Indiegogo in demand does take quite a large percentage of funds raised. So it's just kind of a business decision for us to weigh whether that was worth it or not, or if we've built up enough trust in the community to just send them right to our website. So we will keep people posted on that.
Yes.
So let's talk about this Turtle Bug stand. And so what's different about it? How is it different from your Cricket or your Hive? Why would someone want to go out and say, hey, I need the Turtle Bug stand in my camping arsenal?
Take it away, Calvin.
Well, what we did was just looked at a couple existing stands that are no longer in production, and they had some really good aspects, and then obviously they had some not so great aspects. So I just examined it and solved all the problems. So to look at the turtle bug, it looks like it's a tripod, but it's not, because the problem with tripods is that they'll walk on you. They're not on perfectly even ground. They'll start walking because they try to distribute weight equally through each leg. And if the ground's not perfectly flat, something's got to move and adjust. Yeah. So what our stand actually is it's a four-legged stand still, and then it has a stabilizer leg on one on each side. And how that actually operates is exactly like training wheels on a bicycle.
Okay.
So, and what that allows it to do is you can set it up on more uneven ground because it'll pivot within the hub, and it makes it way more stable because you only have 2 points of contact that are actually weight bearing.
Okay.
So the majority of the weight in the turtle bug is on those 4 thicker legs.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might only have 5 points of contact on the ground, like the 4 legs and one of the stabilizers.
Yep.
Okay,
so yeah.
So just to be clear, this is a completely self-sustained. You don't have to anchor it to the ground in any way. I could set this up in my living room without anchoring to a couch or to a door frame or anything along those lines.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep.
Completely freestanding.
And then we made it all shot corded together. So that has a lot of benefits. Like, you basically don't have to think. So it basically, as you pull it out of the bag, it sets itself up. So it just starts clicking together. So for example, last time we timed it, the mini stand took about 15 seconds to put up.
Wow.
It takes about 35 seconds to set up the chair. I've set up the camper in about 45 seconds is about how long it takes. And it's kind of what I try to do is just simplify it for people and that don't know much about hammock camping at all, and just make it a nice, easy experience for them.
I can think that would be like really great, especially like with the push buttons. I know some people complain about the push buttons, and I remember when I went to Virginia at the beginning of the year, I was setting up my hive in my best friend's backyard, and it was like 29 degrees, and my fingers were very, very cold. And that was kind of a pain in the butt, but I mean, it went up, but the whole like shot cord, pull it out, click, 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 you're done. And in your hammock, getting roasty toasty and that downy goodness within a minute. So,
Yeah.
That's nice.
This is actually kind of a teachable moment right now we can take about push buttons and telescoping poles. So your setup time and your pack size are always going to be a little bit in conflict. So if you want the pack size as small as it can possibly get, you need your poles to telescope. You need them to hide inside each other, which means you need the push buttons. Right. Now, if you don't care about getting the smallest pack size possible, you can have tent style poles like the turtle bug's going to be. They won't, the poles won't have anywhere to go inside themselves. So they'll create a little more bulk in the pack. But that is something for people to keep in mind sorry, Ginger's over here deciding she wants attention all of a sudden.
YOBO mascot.
But that's just something when people are, say, well, why didn't you make this telescoping, or why didn't you make it temple style? Or it's basically a contest between pack size or setup time. So if you want a tiny pack size, your setup time is going to be a little bit longer, and vice versa.
Okay. Makes sense.
And you have, let's see, 4 different sizes of the turtle bug. Can you talk about those and what might each one be best used for, in your opinion?
Okay, so we have 4 sizes, like you said. I wanted to give kids away to have their own hammocks, because that's just not something that's available right now.
And we all would have loved a hammock if we were kids.
Oh, man.
A little hammock stand
Right.
that we could drag around.
Heck yeah. And then another reason why a hammock stand's perfect for that is kids are going to want to use it all the time. So
Yeah, watch movies in it, read a book in it.
Hang out in their bedroom. So I think that'll be really cool.
We've also, it's interesting, I just got an email the other day from a woman who is the mother of an autistic son. And they have found that hammocks are one of the very best ways to make him feel comfortable and calm in really overstimulating environments. So they're getting a Walhalla hammock and a YOBO stand and everything. And we've had that in our minds a long time too. You know, I'm a former school teacher and have worked with autistic children, and we don't want to make any medical claims, but there is very good anecdotal evidence that a hammock can be very, very soothing for a child who's overstimulated. Even a child who's not autistic that's overstimulated, it's just super calming. You know, the same reason we all hammock. Right. It's just cradling and calming and feels good. So I think that's going to be an excellent application for people that maybe they don't even know about yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely positive that you'll find, those communities that you would never thought you would click into, find these very good and useful uses for your products. And, as a current teacher, I can definitely, echo those sentiments, and I can definitely see, that rocking, that cradling, even for, people that aren't, sensory spicy individuals. It's definitely a calming thing. It helps with anxiety, anything along those lines. So I can definitely see that.
I just got a vision of a little turtle bug in like a kindergarten classroom or something, in a reading corner.
When you were talking about the kids and how they like laying and watching movies and stuff like that, that was first thing I thought about was nap time in kindergarten. How I would have loved to have had. Sleeping on the damn floor sucked in kindergarten. It really did.
There is no nap time in kindergarten anymore.
It just gave me that look of like, what in the world are you talking about? No, I remember sleeping on the ground.
The best part of kindergarten.
We're sleeping on the hard floor in kindergarten, and then they wanted me to take a nap. Okay, you want me to lay on this hard floor and take a nap? No.
Even kindergarten Paul knew he was not supposed to be a ground dweller.
Exactly.
So that's kind of our reasoning behind the Mini. Just every kid should be able to hammock, and even if they're not camping in it overnight, you can still set it up at the campsite and give them a place to hang out next to mom and dad.
Yeah, because every kid wants just what their parents have. So I think that's super cool that they can mimic their parents.
Tell them about how the chair came to be.
Oh, so the chair, we have a friend that's a nurse, and she kept asking me for a hammock chair for her office, and I was like, we don't do chairs, but anyways, so this frame lended itself perfectly to it, so I decided, just by chance, decided to go ahead and make a chair, and it turns out to be like the most comfortable chair I've ever sat. Like all of our indoor furniture or anywhere I've ever sat, it is more comfortable than any chair I've ever sat in.
It's so comfortable.
And what's cool about it is it's so easy because you can just set the chair on a daisy chain, and you can set it to your perfect height, sit height. And then also obviously it rocks, but it also rocks side to side. Like I watched, one gal sit in it at HangCon, and she just lost herself in it. She just started rocking side to side in it and got a big old smile on her face. And I mean, it was just neat to watch. And then Kristen and I, we started setting it up at all of our whenever we go car camping, because typically what we really enjoy doing is backpacking, but now we're both like, we need more excuses to use this chair. So we're like, we're going to start car camping way more now too.
That's funny.
It was also cool. So after we left HangCon, we had to go film a bunch of footage of the turtle bugs, like all 4 models, because the weather in Wyoming is not conducive to filming outdoor gear content right now in January and February.
No way.
So I know. So we just had to stay in Florida for an extra week. And we were filming some content on the beach, and we had the chair out, and the looks on people's faces as they walked by, it was so cool because everyone was like, that thing is awesome and I want that. And we actually had a guy come up to us and he was like, where did you get this thing? What company is this from? And, we told him, well, it's just a prototype and it's our company. And he was like, these things are going to be huge. And he's like, I'm seeing them, being used like the resort chairs use. So the beach is a perfect place for the turtle bug chair, as well as a campsite, or an office, or watching your kids' soccer games, living room furniture if you're Cal and you get your way.
Hey, after the Kickstarter and all that, AJ, we can have Kristen and Cal come down and bring a bunch of the chairs and the stands, and we can actually have the largest hammock hang around.
Yeah. Imagine that, right in Florida.
Yeah, we're not still bitter at all. Oh man. Well, so it's awesome that the idea for the hammock chair and this option for your stand didn't even come from the hammock community, or really even the camping community.
No, you don't have to be a hammock camper to decide to purchase the chair and utilize it in every possible situation.
Yeah, I would say that I can kind of echo a lot of those stories with some of my other YOBO gear. I set my Cricut up in the lobby of a hotel of a dance competition. And so many parents that were like coming by that, were just standing around, or they had or just sitting on really uncomfortable auditorium chairs all day. Like, oh, this guy's knows what's up. I'm like, yeah, I do. I'm just gonna chill out here.
That's awesome.
And I had taken I forget, it was either my Cricut or my Hive. It may have been my Cricut again. I took it to the Christmas parade here in town, and while everyone else was like getting eaten by bugs and sitting in these really uncomfortable camp chairs, nope, I had my zippered chameleon hung up, and I was just watching the parade behind my bug net, and I was just lounging out. So many people that were on the floats were just looking at. I was like, I want that. And I would have just always said, yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do. That's awesome.
That's funny.
Love it.
Yeah, and just patio furniture in general, it makes great patio furniture, that and the lounger. Right. And then you can just pack it up in less than a minute too and take it with you. And what we found too, what was neat is on the beach, it doesn't matter how much sand you get in it. It doesn't affect make it sticky or anything.
That's cool.
So that was a nice aspect of it.
I would say that would be another one of the benefits of going with your tent pole style collapsibleness versus the telescoping poles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we talked about the mini, we talked about the chair. Now getting to the lounger. This is the first one that you could put a what we would classify as a traditional-esque hammock on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've found in our 3 years of creating content for hammock campers that there is a lot of confusion out in the world about 9-foot hammocks versus 11 or 12-foot hammocks. And the best way we've found to describe that to folks is the shorter ones are more of a lounging size that probably aren't going to be comfortable for full-size adults to sleep in overnight, whereas your 11 and 12-foot hammocks are the camping size. So we divided it between lounging and camping hammocks, and I've noticed, other companies are doing that as well to kind of educate people. And there's a whole huge percentage of folks out there that have no desire to ever camp in a hammock, but they love setting up their hammock and just laying in it for an hour or two and reading a book.
Right.
whether it's at their campsite or at a pool or in their backyard or whatever. So we wanted to make a stand for them too, where they don't have to go all out on a big camping hammock stand, but they can just set up their little lounging hammock.
Yeah, anytime we go to any of the state parks or national parks, or even privately owned campgrounds, if there's trees, there's probably going to be some some short 9-foot Amazon or Eno or hammocks that are always strung up. That you still, I think, in a campground setting, camping hammocks are still few and far between, but your loungers are everywhere.
Yes.
I just wish they would put ridge lines
doing
on them, because that is a pet peeve of mine. I'm just like, oh, you could make this so much better. Just with the little cord, connecting this and this to make the experience so much better.
Yeah, and our goal also with the lounger is trying to get more people to come what am I saying? Upgrade to hammock camping. And how we're doing that is we're not offering a hammock without offering an underquilt. So if you get a hammock, you're getting an underquilt. And because I feel like that's the main turnoff why most people don't make that equation in their mind, like, oh, I could sleep in this because it cools off at night and it's cold in a hammock. And so it just never crosses their mind like they should want to try to sleep in it.
Right.
So the lounger is a potential gateway.
Yeah, it's the gateway
into
into
hammock
camping.
Yeah, and you guys know this from trying to teach people. If you can show people how it's, how the hammock is supposed to be hung and how you're supposed to lay in it, and you do it right, then you're going to have way fewer people say, "Oh, I tried that and it was miserable."
Yeah.
It's like, well, you may have done it wrong.
But initially, I'd say the biggest turnoff is cold butt syndrome.
Right.
So
yeah,
if we can show them how easy it is to bypass that, I think it'll be a easier transition into hammock camping.
I would say funny you had made that comment just this morning. I think someone had posted either on one of the hammock forum Facebook groups this picture of this guy. He was on the AT. And he had a hammock that his head was like right up near the suspension. And
oh no,
his tarp was definitely not connected to the tree where there was enough room. It was kind of like wrapped around the side of it. It was just so many things within the picture, just that one snapshot. And I'm just like, oh, I see danger. This is not going to end well.
Yeah.
And you don't want people to have that experience. You don't want them to have a bad time because, like, no, I promise it's really great.
Yeah.
Let us teach you how to do it right so you have a good time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wanted to make the comment that this looks like the thumbnail of every single YouTube video with the title, essentially, "This is why I hate hammock camping," or "This is why hammocks suck on the trail." It's like, oh no.
Yep.
No. This is bad.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the idea behind the stand itself as well. So I mean, because we put hooks and tarp poles and everything, so everything's just so simple to hook onto, So nobody has to like wonder, am I doing this right? Am I looking stupid? Is this right? Because if it goes on the sand, I think it has to be right. I don't think there's a wrong way. I don't think you can screw it up. I think the stand just simplifies it all so much.
I don't know if you guys got a good look at the turtlebug hubs. I mean, Cal's been working on those for months and months, and they are so cool because he truly thought of everything, like not just how to make tarp deployment easy, but also he put a hook on there for a sunshade that you can tilt. He put a hook on there where you can hang your pack. He put a few different places where you can hang your hammock depending on how you like to hang it. It is super cool.
And also, just for the record, the lounger will hold up to a 10-foot hammock. So you could have potentially 10-foot hammocks, like camping hammocks, for shorter individuals, that could work on that thing. So it's not just your 9-foot hammocks.
Yes.
Yep.
And consequentially, a Haven or a Haven XL also fits perfectly on a lounger.
Okay. So, I mean, even for, even serious hammock campers, wouldn't necessarily say I have to have the camper. They could go out and find that the lounger really does meet the needs that they have.
Yes, correct. I've posted our approximate dimensions for every single model, the camper, the lounger, the chair, and the mini on our website page. And it's also going to be on the Kickstarter campaign page. So if you're wondering, will my hammock fit? You can just go look at the measurements, know the measurements of your hammock ridgeline. And do they need to know anything else to make that decision?
No.
So yeah, we've put the measurements on there from hammock attachment point to hammock attachment point.
And
height.
height.
Height. So as long as you know your ridgeline length and how far your hammock hangs down, then you'll be able to figure out which stand.
Okay.
Like the 9-ox will fit the lounger perfectly too, with one more leg segment.
Okay.
So
the 9-ox.
And so now let's talk about the version that I have told my wife that I'm totally not interested in getting. And
she's not behind you and the door is shut, AJ. You're safe.
Probably.
I'm not saying a word
I'm
this
not joking.
time, AJ.
I'm pretty sure you may personally get a message from my wife. So help me. You need to block his order. Block his order.
I'm staying out of it this time.
So let's talk about the camper. So I think that one would be the one that would suit most of our listeners' needs. I know for me and Paul, that's the one that we would be looking at as adding to our arsenal. What makes the camper the go-to for someone that is serious about hammock camping?
Okay, so the camper actually fits a full 11 foot hammock.
And when we say fits, we do not mean you have to fold the end over or shorten the hammock anyway and actually turn your 11-foot hammock back into a 9-foot hammock.
That advertise that they fit an 11-foot hammock, but you really turns it to a 9-foot hammock? No way.
I may have seen something like that somewhere. But yes, your 11-foot hammock will clip in to either end with no folding or shortening of your hammock.
Okay.
It can be used to the fullest extent of its capabilities.
Yes, it will remain an 11-foot hammock while it's on the stand.
Yes.
And I think the coolest thing about the camper is what he's done with the tarp extension.
Yeah, that was really, really cool.
Yeah, so they all have adjustable elbows in them, so you can adjust your. It'll fit a tarp anywhere between, as small as you want to go, up to I believe 15 feet.
Wow, that's a big tarp.
Yeah,
I can try that out for you.
Yeah.
I might know a guy that has one of those behemoth tarps.
Nice.
Yeah, but it just operates on a flexible elbow, and it just bends in or out.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Now you've already talked about all 4 of them.
I'll correct you even if you're right. I mean, I don't really need wrong.
You probably will. Okay. There you go. Yeah. Mute your mic. Just leave it like that for a few. So correct me if I'm wrong, but somebody could get the mini for their kid, and it would grow with the child too, right? Because you can add to it, kind of like what did I say? It was like the little tykes, stuff that they have, grow as they go type thing for little kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in theory, you could buy the mini for your kid and then, think to yourself, dang, that looks comfortable. And then buy some leg extensions to make it taller. And then boom, you have the chair size. And then you would add some ridge extensions to get the lounger or the camper size. Now, the extension pieces are not going to be available on the Kickstarter. You'll have to wait till after the Kickstarter to buy those separately.
Yeah.
But yeah, any model of Turtlebug can turn into any other model of Turtlebug with either adding segments or subtracting
It's like
segments.
a transformer.
Yeah.
And I think that's really
And we made
the really cool thing about what you guys have done, especially with the turtle bug, is that you have really truly created this stand ecosystem,
Right.
that you can kind of, put in. I think, you've created the stand version of what Dutch did with the chameleon. You can kind of tailor, your camping experience. Oh, you don't need a bug net for this time. You need a winter cover. Oh, switch, done. You need more storage for this trip. Oh, so zip that on. You're done. You need an underquilt that that you don't want to move for different temperatures. Oh, I can zip on, and that kind of, I would say, that makes the chameleon one of the more accessible gathered ends on the market because of that zipper option. And I think you guys have really knocked it out of the park with this turtle bug as far as making it, hey, I'm going to the beach. I need just a chair because I'm just going to sit out with the sunshade and read a book. I don't need to take the entire thing, and it can still go up in 30 seconds, or probably, if you're me, after a few drinks, at least under 2. And or you can say, hey, I can do the exact same thing, but now I'm going on a camping trip, or I'm going to an Airbnb that I need an extra bed. Boom, boom, boom. Add a few extra things. It really is truly a buy once, cry once kind of experience.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's way overkill. Like the poles we use are, they're all really heavy duty poles. Because I actually did make it so you could make it as tall as you wanted, or as long as you wanted within reason. So that's a pretty neat aspect of it.
Something people should understand, and I think, is the longer you make the ridge pole, the more the weight capacity goes down.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand why. I know it has to do with physics. But if, like, we have people asking, well, what about my War Bonnet Ridge Runner? And obviously you're going to have to lengthen that ridge pole a ton to get something like a Ridge Runner hooked up on that thing, which means your weight capacity is going to go down. So Cal is still in the lab performing a series of tests and workarounds and things like that. So we won't be able to definitively say quite yet, exactly which of those other, kind of non-traditional hammock models are going to work for sure or not, or how they're going to work for sure. But rest assured, he's working on that.
Yeah. Like right now, for instance, extend it to 13 feet, which is how long it needs to be basically for the Ridge Runner. It'll hold me just fine, and I'm not worried about it at all. But I'm trying to figure out how to push the limits on that a little more.
Yeah, I think for those of you, this is not a YOBO related comment, but for those that are interested, there's some modifications that you can do to your Ridge Runner as well to make it a lot more accessible to some stands. Like, for example, people say the Happy Medium from Townsend Outdoors is really the only one that can fit on a bridge hammock that can fit on a Cricket. Well, I've actually modified a Ridge Runner to go on a Cricket, and I've slept in it just fine.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we'll do a podcast episode on playing around with the Ridge Runner, or maybe I need to do a video. Maybe not.
That's a great idea, and that would help us too, because we're not familiar with every single hammock model. We're familiar with a lot of them, but when people email us and say, "Will my blank 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 hammock work?" So I'm just going to send it to AJ from now on for those really obscure hammocks that I don't know anything about.
You can have Dawn record you putting every one of your hammocks on the stands.
Oh, now there's video evidence of just every one.
Yeah. And let Dawn be the one to record it.
Mm-hmm. Clever.
I won them in the raffle.
Do you want to talk
swear,
about
I won
the
them all
pricing
in a
of her
raffle.
turtle bug and how we got there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how do you guys feel about the pricing of the turtle bug?
I mean, it really is a crazy good deal. So that's something that we haven't talked about yet. It is the price, and I'm sure that's where a lot of it's really the only question a lot of people would really care about. That and before we get into the price, let's talk about the not so much now, but what are you looking at, like weight capacity for these stands?
Well, the chair's going to hold. Heck, I mean, you put pretty much whatever you want in the chair.
So again, coming back to the ridge pole rule, the longer the ridge pole is, the lower the weight capacities. The mini and the chair, ironically, I mean, we have them set at 500 pounds. They could probably hold way more than that. The lounger, right now, our preliminary prototype testing, we feel comfortable saying it's good up to 350. Our camper, we're saying it's good up to 300. Now, remember everyone, this is for our Kickstarter prototypes, and this is our best guess at this time. The weight capacity isn't going to be any lower than that. We might try to get it a little bit higher than that. But it is going to be a lower weight capacity than like your Cricket or Hive, just because it's a completely different design.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like the legs are plenty strong enough to hold a ridiculous amount of weight. It's just the matter of the ridge.
There is a lot of force going into that compressible tension going into that ridge pole. So yeah.
So what about the rest of the specs for each of the stands, as far as like the weight of the stands and the packability of the stands and stuff like that?
So all the stands, like the poles themselves, are going to pack down to 19 inches at the most. And depending, like if you want to leave the hubs shot corded into the poles, it's probably 22 inches by approximately 8 by 8. So they fit in a tiny bag, and you'll forget you even have them. Like if you throw them in a cupboard or in the back of your truck or whatever you end up doing with it. But they're still super small. We actually fit 2 loungers in a 30-liter backpack. Okay. So yeah. And it zipped up and closed and everything. So it was, I mean, that's fine.
Your Cal's rule for calling something a packable hammock stand or a travel hammock stand is it has to fit in carry-on luggage. You can't call it a super packable hammock stand if it only fits in your car trunk.
Yeah, if I can't throw it in a backpack and take it on an airplane and then cruise right to the beach when I get off the plane, I don't call it packable.
Makes sense.
So back to that. So back to the compactability of it. I mean, so you can just unhook the hubs from the poles, and if you do that, then your pack size is like 18.5, 19 inches long, and then you just got to throw your hubs in it, which makes it a little bit more bulkier. But if you leave them connected, they'll be about 22 inches long.
And then that's a perfect example of if you increase your pack size a little bit, but your setup time is going to go down.
Yeah.
Like if you leave the hubs attached, it'll pack longer, but it'll set up quicker.
Okay. All right. So now let's talk about price. Do y'all have prices in mind right now of what the different stands are going to cost? Are they going to be Price was the whole reason for the turtle bug to begin with. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but much of our feedback that we get is, will you guys please make a lower priced hammock stand? And we know, not everybody wants to go spend a bunch of money on a super technical hammock stand, especially if they're just getting into hammock camping or if they're not going to use a stand very often. So price was kind of where we started with this stand, wouldn't you say, Cal?
Yeah. And so the main thing we did was eliminate all the machined parts, because like the Cricket has all kinds of neat little machined parts on it that I really like, but maybe somebody that's not into gadgets and stuff, they may not appreciate that. They're like, just give me a stand to hang my hammock from. And that's what we made, basically a stand to hang your hammock from.
Also, the telescoping poles are very expensive to make. We've had to do a lot of education for people around that, because they're like, well, the Crickets and the Hive are just aluminum poles. I don't understand why it's that expensive. But telescoping poles are actually 5 different poles in one. And so you're paying to get 5 extrusion molds made at the factory. And the tolerances have to be absolutely perfect where it telescopes smoothly, but you're not going to get a bunch of gaps in there that make the poles rattly. So we eliminated the telescoping poles with the turtle bug. And you also switched up the aluminum.
Yeah, it went from 7,000 series aluminum to 6,000 series, which 7,000 series costs twice as much as what 6,000 series costs.
What's the difference between the two?
So
6,000
between the 7,000 and 6,000.
So 7,000 is twice as strong as 6,000. So obviously when we decrease the price and swapped from 7,000 to 6,000, we also had to double up the amount of aluminum so we could keep the strength. So say for instance, our 7,000 series poles are 1 millimeter thick. Our 6,000 series need to be 2 millimeters thick.
Which is increasing the weight of the stand too.
Yeah, which then in return doubles the weight of the stand.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, you're not really sacrificing the quality. You're just having to sacrifice a little bit of the lightness.
Yeah. Anything Cal makes is going to be quality, and it's going to do exactly what he tells you it's going to do. It's, there's just, we're calling the Cricket and Hive kind of a more premium line. There's a lot of like being able to adjust every single leg to a different height. Some people want that capability in their setups. So a more technical hammock camper is probably going to really enjoy that with the Cricket and the Hive, whereas other people are just like, give me a decently priced stand that I can set up super fast and I know my hammock's going to fit on it.
Speaking of that, so what are we talking about price wise? Because I think that's where also this really, really shines.
So the retail price for the camper, so the largest, which will be the most expensive turtle bug, comes with the tarp extensions, the super fancy elbow tarp extensions. That, when it's all said and done, will retail for $380. So we were really, really pleased to get that under $400.
That is awesome.
Well, we're even more pleased that for Kickstarter backers, they are going to get it for $299.
All right. Wow.
And that, the reason the Kickstarter backers get that special discount is because they are really fully in it and along for the roller coaster ride with us. And so we want to honor their investment that they're making. And I appreciate Cal's brain because he truly has been listening to y'all for 3 years now. And he's really been trying to work out a way to get a really good freestanding hammock stand for under $400.
Well, here, I got some good news for you, AJ. Okay. So Dawn has already, she's put the red light on you. Okay. I got your back though, buddy. Okay. Because I'm sure I will be ordering one. So before the Kickstarter, we'll get together and you can, just kind of gift me some money, and then I will gift you a stand once it gets delivered.
I got excited there for a little bit. I thought you were buying me a YOBO. I was like, oh.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see.
Oh, and something else on the camper, like talking about price, what's cool is the soft goods package that we offer with it too.
So tell us. Oh, Ginger just squealed with excitement. I think she saw a squirrel. I don't think it's about the
Ginger's
Kickstarter.
favorite part.
Ginger has no idea why we're dragging her everywhere and setting up hammock stands and videoing. But you'll notice she insists on being in every single shot.
She's the YOBO mascot.
Jin.
She is.
Jin. Hey.
She is.
Come here. Come here.
You're okay. You're okay. I think she sees something out the window.
Okay, so
definitely see something out the window. I was trying to make this so that we could talk, and you wouldn't like have to try.
I'm not going to edit Ginger out. Ginger's part of YOBO Gear.
He'd edit
Come on.
me out before he edit Ginger.
Yeah, I would.
Do you also wind up squirrels, AJ?
Sometimes he does, I think.
Nothing but treat rats. Oh my goodness. So yeah, let's talk about the soft goods package that you got there, Calvin. This is something that's really great.
Yeah.
For someone that is either not just beginners, which I think is a great offering, but also someone that maybe wants to just have something, a little piece of extra gear that they can add to their turtle bug stand, or just to have to loan out to a friend. And I think this is a really great option. So I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, so what we came up with is a really high quality hammock. It's 11 foot long, netted, has ridge organizer, super comfortable. It's not going to be the kind of quality like you're going to get from a cottage vendor, but it's going to be better than anything you're going to buy in any store. And it gives people a really inexpensive entry into hammock camping with a proper 11-foot hammock. And what comes with this offer is you get that hammock, you get a 55-degree underquilt, you get a 12-foot tarp, and
the camper.
And the camper stand for what, $450?
$450 on
wow.
Kickstarter.
Yep, on Kickstarter.
So a complete beginner hammock camping package. Or like you said, AJ, if you want to keep something extra on hand for your teenager or someone who you're trying to get into hammock camping and you want them to have a decently comfortable setup that's not a 9-foot hammock.
You can't beat that.
No, I mean, it's going to be cheap. Like if you go to a store, like any outlet, and try to get something, you're going to get way lower quality, and it's going to cost us.
Right.
And what was the price for this whole package? So $450 for a complete hammock setup and a stand. Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. All in one. So if I was just starting to hammock camp, and I have no idea where to start with what hammock to get or what stand to get or what all gear I needed, this would be a great package. And then of course, after I use that for a while, then I'll know like, oh, I want to upgrade to a Dutchware Chameleon, or I want to get a Walhalla tarp or a Jaxar Better underquilt, or whatever you decide. But it's just a really good place to start.
It's a more accessible gateway, a more beneficial gateway than maybe jumping in an Eno hammock. Like that's how I got in, and yeah, it was a gateway. Apparently, it was a gateway big enough for me to get to where I am, but I can definitely see if I had started the game with an 11-foot hammock, I probably would have jumped in a little bit more headlong in earlier.
You would have twice as many hammocks now.
Yeah.
I'd have twice as many hammocks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
And if you have a so-so experience with a 9-foot hammock or maybe a 10-foot hammock, you're maybe not as inclined to even try an 11-foot hammock.
Well, and the hammock we're offering on the Kickstarter is an ASIM, right?
Yes.
So it kind of forces people to learn to lay diagonally.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's another little educational thing we threw in there. And also the underquilt, of course, because we know you're going to have a bad time if you don't have an underquilt. So, for all the people that think, well, I'll just use my sleeping bag, they'll be able to really experience an underquilt. Now, granted, it's synthetic. It's good to 55 degrees, so there's plenty of room to upgrade. And they'll probably want to eventually, but just to get started, it's giving them the whole
55-degree underquilt here in Florida. That's a pre-season underquilt. So.
Yeah.
So now with the hammocks being ASIM, are you going to offer? Is there going to be the choice between right lay and left lay, or are they all going to be
They're all going to be right lay.
Okay.
Head right, feet left. Yeah.
Yep.
Head left, feet right.
Head right, feet left.
Are you sure?
Depends on if you're on your stomach or your back.
If I'm on my back, I'm head right,
thinking.
feet left.
Okay.
We
AJ,
also
AJ
are
acts like he's never
excited-
laid in a hammock before.
I mean, it's been a while since I laid in a gathered in, so
He's probably been laying like a banana this whole time, doing it wrong.
Well, that's that's how you lay in a hammock, right?
I just graduated from a tent.
We're also really excited to say that Dutchware has agreed to partner up with us again on this project, and Wahala. So Cal, you'll see in all the pictures and videos the sunshade that goes with the lounger and the chair and the mini. It's just super cool, super durable, makes the whole setup super shady, in a good way, shady in a good way. And so Cal came up with that vision. He basically wrote it on a napkin and gave it to Jason and said, Jason, I need you to build this, which I love Cal and Jason's relationship because Jason often has to create whatever's in Cal's head without having a super clear picture.
Poor
and
Jason.
He nails it every time.
Yeah,
Poor
time,
Jason.
the first time.
He's so good at it.
Yeah.
So Jason built these prototypes that were only existed in Cal's brain. And that's what everybody saw at HangCon.
Okay.
And they're absolutely wonderful. And Dutch has agreed to do the mass production on those for the Kickstarter. So those are going to be high quality. And my favorite thing is Dutchware is actually also going to be making the mini hammocks. So
cool.
Imagine your kid's first hammock gets to be a Dutchware.
So is what all comes? Okay, so we talked about the price and what's going to come with the camper. So what about the others? I mean, you just said that about a mini hammock. Is a hammock going to come with the mini stand for the Kickstarter, or is that going to be a separate thing? Or
we have a couple different packages for each size. Okay. So the basic mini package, they'll get the stand and a mini hammock, because I'm not aware of any mini hammocks out there for sale that people could get anywhere. So we knew we needed to provide a hammock with the mini stand.
Okay.
And then people will also be able to upgrade and add the sunshade and a little mini underquilt to the mini hammock if they want.
Okay.
The chair will come with the stand and a hammock chair that we provide for free. You could also hang probably any hammock chair on there within reason. You'd have to check the dimensions.
Yeah, a lot of them come with a wooden bar across the top and then hang from a central point. So what they would do is just take it off do away with the wooden bar
and put a carabiner on each side.
Yeah.
Okay. We've been hinting to Dutch, hey, you need to make a camping hammock chair, maybe that's insulated. So tell your cottage vendors out there, that's what we need, because Yobo's not good at the soft goods stuff.
Well, that's kind of a business decision we made. I kind of like providing a palette for all the cottage vendors to
maybe
create with,
Yeah.
Maybe Jason can dive into Cal's head again and start creating.
I don't know that Jason really loves being in there.
It probably would be a scary place.
Not a lot goes on in there, honestly.
Cal's like the Willy Wonka of the hammock world.
For real.
So do y'all have prices for the other three? The mini, the chair, and the lounger?
Yeah. And without getting too bogged down in all that, I think the basic mini package is going to go for $165, and the chair is going to go for $199, and the lounger is going to be $215. And then you'll be able to upgrade to packages to get, all the extras with those, or add some add-ons. You can even add, if you wanted to buy, like, let's say you wanted 3 chairs for your family, you could pledge for the chair and then add more chairs as add-ons. So you'll really be able to come up with any combination of accessories and stuff that you
Okay.
want.
So that's what I'm thinking. I'm going through my head right now as you're talking all this about what I want to order.
It's best just to write it down. You can cross stuff out and add stuff.
Well, I know. I mean, like right now, every time like Deanna comes in here to my office, she sits here and she looks around. She's like, "I need a chair." So I actually have the YOBO chair set up. So that's her chair when she comes in here. But I think a hammock chair might be a little more comfortable.
It's so comfortable.
It's ridiculously comfortable.
We also, so it'll come with 2 cushions in it. It's super comfortable with or without them. But man, you set that thing up and you put 1 cushion under your butt and 1 cushion behind your back and you're insulated and oh man, it's dreamy.
Now see, Cal, now you need to come out with like a 2-person chair stand. Like for like a little couch hammock. I don't know.
Yeah.
See, I like putting stuff in Cal's head.
Don't put any more information in his head. We need his other things that we already know are in his head to also come to fruition. So
yes, I know.
Stop it, Paul. Stop it.
Well, you guys, do you remember my goal of having a HangCon where we're not launching a product immediately after, where I can just go relax at HangCon and not worry about filming a bunch of new content?
I have that dream too, but Paul keeps revising his 5-year plan, and there goes that.
You got to have a visionary, I guess, in every successful partnership.
Yeah, exactly.
There's the visionary, and then there's the person running behind them, trying desperately to keep up and keep everything organized.
Yeah, you do a wonderful job.
Have you ever seen AJ be organized? Though, really?
I was having the same conversation the other day with someone, and we'd heard so much great feedback from HangCon with it. Oh, everything is just so incredibly organized, and I'm like, that's the miracle that makes this happen, because I no way if ands or buts organized. We've had a few people here recently go up to my wife, who also, for those listeners, who also teaches at the same school that I do, and they'll go up to her and just say, "So how do you guys work? Like, you're all organized and put together and everything is in its place, and your husband is, well, not." So, well, not.
Well, you got a Paul to keep you in line.
That's right. That's right.
Which you guys jumped into the episode without letting us give you a brag about HangCon. We just thoroughly enjoyed ourselves this year, and it's always just it's so fun for us. We get to hang out and see all the cool people and talk with our customers and talk with our friends and show off our gear, and it's just such a cool thing, and it's in our calendar in perpetuity.
Excellent.
So thank you for that experience that you've created.
We will never not be at HangCon.
Woo woo.
Good deal.
There may come a time where I'm not, but apparently me and Paul have like a suicide pact or something. So.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
But shout out to you guys. Shout out to Paul for handedly wrestling the YOBO Gear 10 by 20 foot canopy during a tornado.
That was interesting. That thing whooped my entire rear end all over that campground.
Oh man, I don't doubt it.
That's really why you're the host with the most. Yeah, because you wouldn't have jumped in and helped, would you?
No, he would have got his phone out for a video in that crap.
We got everything on film. That would be HangCon, Hammock Hangers Podcast's very first video, actual video of Paul like saving this big canopy from being blown away.
We're eternally grateful that you did that, and that our canopy didn't end up in the lake while we were at Home Depot buying anchors for
that's where it was. That's where it was headed. Is towards the swamp area over there. But the interesting part was I mean, we would have the gust of wind, but they would never come from the same direction, and it would change. So I'm sitting here trying to hold this thing, and it's pushing against me. So I'm pushing, and then all of a sudden the wind changes, and now it's blowing like into the thing, and it just grabs, and now I'm pushing. So I'm instantly helping it. I mean, it took me for a ride. It was fun.
We feel bad about that.
Yeah, we did. We felt very bad.
Our deepest condolences and our gratitude.
We can laugh about it now. It's okay.
I was laughing about it then.
But you were also sending texts saying you need to get back here immediately.
Yeah, my arms were getting tired. And then I hear all of a sudden I hear an engine, and I thought it was y'all coming back, but it was Tammy and Jason. They come, rolling past in the golf cart, and they see me, and they're like, "You need some help?" Well, yeah, would be nice.
I know you gave Tammy and Jason a shout out on the last episode, but we also want to echo that. They were just incredible and so helpful and so warm and gracious and welcoming. And we appreciated meeting them and having them there.
They are good people.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are good people. Hey, AJ, you're on mute, buddy. Take it off mute.
His mouth is moving. He's talking away.
We're leaving that one in.
I love you all.
We're leaving that one in.
Why are we?
That
friends?
was incredible.
Well, nobody can see that. That's the problem.
You were so expressive in whatever you were saying.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
I really felt it.
We do need to start doing video on these.
I know we could talk to you guys for hours and hours, and I'm sure, but we're gonna kind of wrap it up here. We really wish you guys the best luck with your Kickstarter, which I have no doubts in my mind that it will be a huge glowing success, and I really hope everybody not be dissuaded from joining them on their Kickstarter adventure.
Did we talk about when the Kickstarter was?
Oh yeah, when can we expect it to take our money?
Thursday, February 22nd.
Okay.
It'll be 8 a.m. Mountain Time or 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
Okay.
So just remember 2/22/24.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, didn't I see on y'all's on Facebook where y'all are going to be doing a Facebook Live here next week sometime?
Yes.
I think it is.
So the Monday before the Kickstarter launches, we'll do a live in our YOBO neighborhood.
Okay.
So make sure you're a group member so you can take part in that and see it. And
so that's going to be that's going to be on the 19th then.
Yes.
Okay.
The evening of the 19th.
Right.
And we'll open it up for questions. I'm sure a lot of people have the same questions.
Sure.
So that's just a way that we can have direct contact with people who are interested beforehand.
Okay.
And give them some peace of mind.
Well, that will work because this episode here, well, today, for people listening to this, it will be the 16th. So next Monday, after y'all hearing this, anyhow, will be
awesome.
The Facebook Live. What time is that going to be?
I think I said 5 p.m. Mountain Time. I'll have to go double check, but
okay.
I'll post it everywhere, so you guys will be sure of what time it is. So
anybody that wants to join in on the Facebook Live with Kristen and Cal to ask questions and all that stuff, just make sure you follow them on Facebook on the YOBO Gear YOBO neighborhood, and you'll see the time and all that on there, and then you can jump on and
if you just want to jump on and observe or lurk, you don't have to participate or anything. You can just jump in and watch.
Gotcha. Okay. That will work.
So, well, we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for this podcast.
Yes. We wish you go back to every week instead of every other week.
I love you too, Cal. So much. So much.
Yeah, it's always sad when there's a Friday and we.
Yeah, it's like, what are we going to do today? There's no Hammock Hangers podcast.
Maybe you could dedicate that hour of your time to developing a carbon fiber cricket stand. That would be great.
That would. Carbon.
Well, it's out in the world now, so people know that it's a possibility. So I don't think he's going to be able to not do that.
It's all hinging on how well this Kickstarter goes.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get those pledges in.
Well, I mean, I've already said I don't care if you make any others. You just have to make at least one that I can buy from you.
Well, yeah, but the YOBO Gear has to continue to exist as a company as well.
Yes,
it does.
Minor details.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be an issue, though. I mean,
all right.
Well,
go ahead, AJ. You're on mute again, AJ.
He muted himself again.
Oh my God. AJ, there's always something with AJ. I mean, usually I'm having to edit stuff. I'm usually having to edit stuff out. This episode, I'm going to have to edit stuff in, I guess. I don't know. So for everybody listening, whenever you start hearing like a robot voice, you'll know AJ had himself on mute.
Oh my!
Or just dead, awkward, silent. We're just sitting here watching AJ's mouth move.
You do it again, I'm going to wait until you get done, and then I'm going to say something. That way you have to repeat every bit of it over.
Do you know, sometimes I just assume that's what my students do too. They just listen to just watch my mouth move.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's probably better that way.
All right. Well,
I get it.
Let's try this again. All right. And that's a wrap for this week's episode of the Hammock Hangers podcast. We hope you've enjoyed our time hanging out with Cal and Kristen and the YOBO folks, and they are just amazing people. Make sure that you go and check out their Kickstarter and go support them. They make great gear. And if you're hesitant about jumping on a Kickstarter, I have no problem at all making sure that these guys get their product out there. They make amazing gear and you will not be disappointed. So please make sure you go out and check out their Facebook group, the YOBO Neighborhood, and go over to Kickstarter and check out their newest stands, plural, the Turtle Bug stand. And make sure also check out their Facebook Live coming up as well. Before we go, don't forget to hit that like button if you've enjoyed today's episode, and subscribe to our podcast for more episodes that will keep you hanging on the edge of your seat. Stay connected to us on social media to keep the hammock conversations going. Share your own hammock adventures and stay updated on all things hammock related, like new stands coming on the market from YOBO. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for the Hammock Hangers podcast. Thanks for tuning in, Hangers. Until next time, may your hammocks be cozy, your views breathtaking, and your relaxation uninterrupted. Happy hanging, everybody.